As-salaam alaikum, you guys. So I'm sorry it took me a little bit to get this next video up and rolling. It's been a crazy week. First thing I wanted to mention is, I don't know if you guys can tell through this video, but I'm outside. It's like 78 degrees Fahrenheit, which is crazy Ohio weather. This is like our first spring-like day, and knowing Ohio, tomorrow it'll probably be snowing, and like Sunday it'll probably be like hailing, but I'm going to enjoy this, and I decided to make a lovely outside video. Whether you guys can tell or not, I'm so happy I'm still gonna talk about it. Anyway, so there's that. Other than that, I was actually recently elected as president of the University of Akron Muslim Students Association, which is a big deal for me. Over the past academic year, I've been serving as event coordinator, and then I was able to serve as vice president. So for this upcoming academic year, I'm going to be taking over as president of the MSA, and one of our main goals this upcoming academic year is to establish a permanent prayer room for Muslims. Right now, we've had to kind of like reserve these temporary prayer spots in the student union. There are always these rooms on the third floor that are generally conference rooms, or they're used for storage, and we reserve these rooms every year as a place to pray. And lately these rooms have been revoked from us for whatever reason. There have been lots of on-campus events, and sometimes with poor planning, these rooms, get taken away from us. But what this says is that Muslims are not necessarily a priority at our university, which is a problem. So what my MSA and I have been doing is we're trying to initiate an established prayer room, which has been super stressful but super exciting. But that's what's been like going on this week. I've never really been in professional meetings before. And this is like my first exposure to them. I wore like a blazer. I've never worn anything like that to something so prestigious, something so important. And so it's been an honor and really nerve-wracking and incredibly stressful and draining, but make dua for us. Make dua that we're able to establish this secure prayer space. Inshallah, it would be such a blessing, and I think it would allow for Muslims to feel more accepted, more at home at the University of Akron. But that's kind of just what's been going on in my life at the moment, so sorry for being a little bit MIA, but I promise I have a good reason this time. Anyway, for this video, I wanted to center on the topic of using hijab as a way to promote dawah. This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I think it's a good topic to discuss for these videos. Wearing hijab, at least for me, is something that, is an honor, and I feel pride when I wear it. I feel so proud to be a Muslim and so happy to be able to tell the world that I'm Muslim, and in a way I feel special, significant when I can wear hijab, because I am able to directly tell people that I'm Muslim, whereas with a brother, you don't necessarily have that connection all the time. That's why I think, one of the reasons why I wear hijab is so special, but it's also kind of intimidating, especially, with being a convert and with being a very apparent convert. As you can tell, I am very pale, very white, and when people see me wearing hijab, I often get stares like this. I think that's cultural appropriation. And to let you know, it's actually not cultural appropriation. Thank you very much. I'm often accused of this, which is really frustrating, and it shows me, just how many people really like to assume someone's complete personality, someone's complete being based off of one quick glance, or, even maybe spending a few moments with that person. People like to assume quite a lot, which is really frustrating. I know it tends to be human nature to make these quick snapshot judgments, but try not to let them completely change your perspective of somebody before really even knowing who they are. Just because you talk to someone just for a second, or even just because you look at somebody, doesn't mean that you know completely their entire life, why they look the way that they do, why they act the way that they do. So that's really frustrating, and that's something I get a lot. I've had many people come up to me and ask me what that thing is on my head. Ladies and gentlemen, this thing is not a movie, not a scary movie, I promise. This thing is called hijab, or if you're more comfortable with it, it's called a headscarf. So So I definitely understand how intimidating it can be, how nerve-wracking, and sometimes even that hesitation one may feel before putting on hijab and going out into the world. But remember, when we wear it, it does promote the name of Islam, and when we do good things, when we represent ourselves the best that we can and do it all for the sake of Allah, you know, we're promoting the beauty of Islam, and hijab allows us to do that directly, which I think is such an honor. So in this video, I'd like to give a few tips on how we can wear hijab and think of it as a way of dawah, and some perspectives along with that. Okay, number one, forget the stares. People are gonna stare at you. Whether you're born Muslim, not born Muslim, whether you look it or not, people are gonna stare at you. Some places tend to be more liberal than others, but coming from my personal experience from Northeast Ohio, people stare, and they stare hardcore. Sometimes people stare at me so intently, I think maybe they're trying to like burn a hole inside of my scarf or something. It's like, whoa, calm down. You can simply ask me why I'm wearing it, or you can come up and talk to me instead of like, you know, looking like you're about to like squint your way into like some weird like ether of a world. Not necessary. And I know it's hard not to take these stares personally. You know, sometimes when I'm walking on campus and people are definitely giving me the death glare, and sometimes I do hear them saying things about me, and what I think is meant to be a whisper but sometimes comes out as, hey, I think that's cultural appropriation. You know, you just gotta let it slide off your shoulder. People are gonna talk no matter what, and in the end, their judgment does not matter. It's Allah's judgment. So people are gonna stare. Keep that in mind, and like I said, just let it roll off your shoulder. Number two, don't stress about how you're wearing the hijab. For me, wearing hijab is, you know, it doesn't have to be like some weird origami. You know, you don't have to spend hours doing it. You don't need to, you know, put like 18 different pins in. Like, I'm always afraid I'm gonna like poke myself with a pin. But you don't have to stress about how you're wearing it. You know, it's not some weird, intricate like mechanism. It's something so simple, and it connects you to Allah, and it protects you, and it, you know, is allowing for you to be modest. And I think when you keep this in mind, you know, it allows for you to not stress about how you're wearing it. Sometimes, and I know I've talked about this in my previous videos, I get a little bit anxious and self-conscious about how I'm wearing hijab. I know I've spent countless hours on YouTube scrolling through different videos about how to wear it, and some girls, it's like, it quite literally feels like origami to me. More power to you if that's what you like to do. I admire it, but for someone like me, it's like, sometimes when you keep it simple, that's a little bit better. So don't stress about how you're wearing it. Just try to wear it the best that you can, and remember why you're wearing it. Number three, don't stress about buying brand names. You don't have to put a down payment for a hijab in order to, you know, get a nice hijab. I know Forever 21, which is a store, you know, that's pretty popular within the United States, has really cheap scarves, sometimes $3, $4. You can always thrift for scarves. Sometimes Charlotte Russe, which is another store in, you know, that's really popular in America, has really cheap scarves for sometimes $8, $9. You know, you can find them pretty much anywhere. You don't have to buy these brand names, unless if you want to, and unless if you're able to. But for someone like me, I used to get really anxious about, you know, not being able to afford these really fancy scarves, and some scarves are rather expensive, $20, $25, even $30 per scarf, and for me that's a lot of money, and it's something that I can't quite justify right now with my financial situation. I used to get like really upset about it, and I used to feel like not very Muslim, like, oh, I can't dress this way, I don't have this brand name, or I don't have that brand name. Don't let it get to you. Like, that's not why we're wearing hijab here. I understand it can be very fashionable, and if that's what you like to do, then go for it. More power to you. But remember, again, like, why we're wearing it, like the main reason. Like, we're wearing it for the sake of Allah. We're wearing it to promote the beauty of Islam. We're wearing it to honor our modesty and to share that, you know, message with the world is so beautiful. So don't forget that, and don't stress about those price tags. You know, if you need to thrift for it, you know, and wear it with pride. Be confident about it. And it makes you look more crafty anyway. Number 4, wear the hijab everywhere and be proud of it. I know when I was first wearing hijab, I would be reluctant to wear it on campus, for example. I would wear it to the masjid and leaving the masjid, but then I would take it off when I would go to campus, or sometimes hanging out with some friends, I would feel a little bit shy or reluctant, but try to wear it everywhere. You never know when you're going to have an opportunity to promote dawah, to talk about Islam. Even if you don't directly talk about Islam, you wearing hijab and people seeing you wearing hijab and being a splendid human being, doing good things, being friendly, being compassionate, just doing you, people will want to learn about Islam. They'll be curious, and you're allowing for that positive reflection onto Islam. You're allowing for Islam to be viewed as something wonderful and something that allows for positivity. I understand there are some situations where you can't wear hijab always. It's just good to wear it out in public, I think, because not only is it protecting you and promoting your modesty, but you're also promoting the name of Allah and the beauty of Islam. So if you can, just try to be a little bit more bold with it. It takes time, it takes practice. Be lenient with yourself, don't be so hard on yourself is what I mean. Be patient and realize with time you'll be more confident. And the more confident and the more bold you are, the more you are okay with yourself and being a hijabi, the more people will be curious about Islam, and the more positivity will be spread with regard to Islam. Number 5, you don't have to give into stereotypes about the hijab. Whoa! I know when I was first learning about how to wear hijab and the sorts of people that would, display hijab, whether it's on social media or, just around my campus or even at the masjid, a lot of people tend to have these stereotypes where they're very dainty, fragile. They're wearing their hijab in such a way where it's almost like about to slip off. And I would try to replicate this, which if you can do it, like I keep saying, more power to you, go for it. It just wasn't something for me. I'm a really outdoorsy type of person. I love to be active. I run fairly often. I love going on hikes, walks. I love biking when the weather permits. Like today would be a great day for biking. But you don't have to give into those stereotypes of being dainty and only being concerned about the fashion of hijab. If that's something that you like, go for it, but don't be pressured to do it. I realized that this is something that I've also struggled with, is when I would look up how to wear hijab, I would tend to see the same type of people, making these videos about how to wear hijab and them talking about hijab, not only with regard to wearing it for the sake of Allah, of course they would talk about that, but they tend to to focus it on more fashion, makeup, almost these certain images, which is totally okay if you're into it, but for me, that's not me. I am not one for fashion blogging, and I don't know anything about makeup. I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't have to fit these hijabi stereotypes with how you wear hijab, how you present yourself in hijab. You can still wear hijab and be you. For example, you can run in hijab. You're not gonna look like that dainty fashion blogger. You're gonna look probably really sweaty. For me, I get really red-faced. Your hijab is probably going to be flying all over the place, but that's okay. You're still wearing hijab, and while you're doing, your run, you can promote Islam. I wear my hijab to the gym, and I know I get stares up and down, people looking rather confused about who is this crazy white girl wearing this scarf. And if anybody ever comes up to ask me, I have the honor to say, I'm Muslim and I'm wearing hijab. And you can talk to them about that if you have that opportunity to do so. But wear it, doing the things that you love to do. You don't have to fit these stereotypes of, being dainty or fragile. Not to say that, fashion bloggers are like that in the slightest. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying a lot of photos that I would see when I was first starting to wear hijab, these girls would wear it so delicately, and it would almost make me feel limited. I couldn't do the things that I love to do because my hijab would somehow prevent me, or maybe it would get messed up or slip off, and I would get so caught up in that image. And I realized it's not worth it. Wear the hijab how you feel like you need to wear it, and keep doing the things that you love to do, because in the end, it's all for the sake of Allah. So I hope these pieces of advice can help you guys look at how hijab can be used as dawah, how not to stress about it. I know I've probably said 5.9 billion times that it's for the sake of Allah, it's for the sake of Allah, it's for the sake of Allah, and it really, really is. Allow it to empower yourself, keep in mind like why we wear hijab and how we can use it to promote the beauty of Islam. I think this helps me, and hopefully it'll help you guys as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to making more videos soon. See you guys!